Welcome to the Project with Sam and Lewis, the podcast that looks at projects throughout pop culture and history. I'm Sam.
And I'm Lewis.
And on today's episode, we are talking about the fourth episode of Project Blue,
No, we're not.
Earth SOS.
We're talking about the third episode of Project Blue, Earth SOS.
I got too distracted by the pause that I'd written into the script there.
Project Blue.
And the fact that I wrote fourth episode as well.
Yeah. To be fair, on the way here today, I was like, what did we watch for this?
Well, that just shows how invested both of us are in this.
Yeah, I was also wondering if we followed any sort of pattern with this like we have with Zota.
I think it was about 6 episodes ago, so maybe we're watching this more regularly, or maybe we've just ran out of time and started watching the same things.
But after this, we are halfway through Project Blue.
We
Earth
are,
SOS.
yes. And I don't know if it's really gone anywhere. So, I mean, we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yes.
If you do want to skip ahead to such a section, you can use the time codes in the episode description. But otherwise, how are you, Lewis?
Yeah, pretty good. Things are just kind of like in a routine at the moment. Like,
Yeah.
nothing too exciting going on.
Yeah, we both had quite busy weekends, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
It was it was a music festival thing going on in the area, so we spent a bit of time.
Be the weekend before, not the weekend just come, but the weekend before for when this episode comes
we
out.
record in a slightly
Yeah,
off-kilter manner.
The Great Escape Festival that goes on in Brighton. Lots of bands playing. It was good fun.
Very good. Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Same. A couple of days into the working week, so kind of finding my feet as I do every week. Work from home today, so it was quite refreshing.
Nice.
If not kind of weird, because I'm kind of in my office space now while we're recording. So I haven't really left this room much today.
The living the dream.
Yeah, some may say that. Dream, nightmare. There's a fine line, isn't there?
Well, listen to our Silver Screen project, Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness.
Absolutely. First segment, Lewis.
Project news.
That was a funky one there.
I should probably mention thanks to Steve Oxon for all our little themes.
Yeah.
We do use just his themes, and they're all quite fun. I quite enjoy getting them ready every week.
Yeah, and compared to some of the other themes, we do them live, as you can probably tell from the sound there.
And there's some themes that we asked a friend to do before we started and still use that same guitar riff.
Yes. And I've never credited them, so that's fine.
No, I think they are okay with that.
Yeah, a certain level of anonymity.
Yes, maybe they'll come on the pod one day and we can announce them as the guy who did the riff. But project news, as always, I've googled the word project, picked out 2 bits of news. The first one is from Kerrang.
Wow.
Which,
speaking of guitar riffs,
which
I was going to do a little like, but I couldn't really.
Is a website I frequent fairly.
Did you go on the actual website?
Well, yeah, I don't think they have a magazine anymore. I think they stopped it and went all online.
I get a lot of news from like NME. I just get through social media.
Yeah,
so I don't actually go on the.
No, I have the Kerrang and the NME websites bookmarked, and every now and then I'll just scroll through their reviews and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, from Kerrang, live review and photos, My Chemical Romance at the Eden Project.
Ah, very nice.
So My Chemical Romance are back in the UK for the first time in 10 years.
I think as time of recording, Milton Keynes Bowl is a couple of days away.
Yeah. They're also playing Cardiff, supported by Funeral for a Friend, which I would literally kill to go to that gig. I looked up tickets and it was like £120, and we've both got a stag do to go to this year and a wedding, so I can't afford that. But yeah, it's a review of their comeback tour, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right.
They put out a new song the other day, which I don't suppose you've listened to.
I actually have, and I thought it was fine. I think I was in the midst of listening to kind of very different music at that time and switched over, and I didn't love it, but it was
No, I
it was
thought it was okay.
interesting.
I'm gonna give it a few more. It reminded me more of like pre-Black Parade era My Chemical Romance more than their latter stuff.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their tour dates now because I had a feeling at some point that they might end up at Glastonbury Festival, which, as many people know, quite a big festival in the
Yeah,
UK slash world, I guess. They are in Dublin a couple of days before that, so
maybe.
it's possible.
I
I
did
also
see.
feel like Glastonbury is kind of filling out a lot of slots, and I feel like
Yeah,
it'd be a strange thing to put them on like a lower stage. But
yeah. I did
hey,
see they'd probably do like a headline at Glastonbury,
you'd think, or at
surely.
least like on another, like the
Yeah.
other stage. But yeah.
I did see that the Ukrainian band that won Eurovision recently
Oh
are
yeah.
playing
Are
Glastonbury.
they? Yeah.
I don't know if you saw them perform,
I
but
I
it
saw
was
the
good fun.
I saw the kind of winner's performance at the end. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's not too much to say on this. They did quite a mixed set of a
Right.
couple of new
Okay. Yeah.
songs, including the Fountains of Decay, which has been released, and then
Mm,
just kind of bits from all different
pretty
albums, apart
cool.
from the first.
That's kind of what you want, isn't it?
And
Really.
kind of a
Yeah.
lot of stuff they haven't played even before they've broken up for quite a while. But
Yeah.
by all accounts, they were good. So
Nice.
hopefully they will continue touring, and I look forward to when they put out an album.
Yeah, or maybe do a slightly more inclusive tour that you could get
Yeah,
tickets
it's
for or
always
something like that.
hard with these like huge American bands because they'll be like
Yeah.
UK tour and they'll play like London, Birmingham, Manchester, Glasgow. That's our
Yes.
tour, and it's
Yeah,
like
and it's like we're kind of not really near any. And they're not
yeah,
even doing. I mean, Milton Keynes is their
southern
main,
one,
and I
yeah.
think they're doing 3 dates there now, which
Yeah.
is kind of
So
crazy.
so
But
many non-British bands just like go to London and like that covers the south and it's
yeah,
like it's not easy to get to London.
no,
Like
no,
you can
but
go,
it's the
but
getting back, isn't it?
yeah. So bands should play more gigs in Brighton. I mean, we've got the Brighton Centre. That's
Yeah,
pretty big.
it's not great, but it's big
Yep.
ish. It's big ish.
And the other bit of project news I've got, which is something we've talked about, and there's some more information here for us that
Okay,
I'm sure
nice,
you'll be
nice.
keen to
Little
know.
follow up. Yeah.
The Lazarus Project,
Oh.
car chase carnage, an action-packed clip from Sky Sci-Fi drama exclusive. This is from
Whoa.
Empire.
Okay.
So we've been talking about this series quite a bit. When's it coming out? We thought it was already out. I can tell you the release date is the 16th of June. So
Right.
when they said out in April, they were
Yeah.
lying to
Okay. Yeah.
us.
And it said on something like Now TV that it was out, didn't it?
Yeah,
So don't know what
so
that's
but
about.
it is mid-June, so we will probably cover that when it gets to it.
Yeah.
But the clip that's kind of been released, they've said, watching this clip, you might think it is something like Fast and Furious or Breaking Bad, or a
Wow.
mix between the
I
two.
mean, my two favorite things together that are very similar.
Yeah, very similar stuff. But Empire seems to be bigging up quite a lot and quite. I mean, they've only seen that clip, but I don't. I haven't seen the clip, and they seem to think this series has got potential. So,
Yeah. I mean, we feel like
um,
we should do like a live reaction to the clip. I think it might be a bit disruptive.
yeah, and it'd be kind of hard for listeners. Maybe if we were like a visual
Visual
media.
medium podcast. Well, I was just going to put it on and just have us go, oh, yeah, that looks good, doesn't
Oh yeah.
it?
Um, but yeah, so we've got the release date. 8-part thriller
Yeah.
lands on Sky Max and
Do
Now
you know how long the
TV
clip is?
on the 16th of June. I've got the clip here.
If you click on it on your phone and see how long it is, because I've got it here as well.
No. Oh, it's like 2 minutes.
2 minutes? That's probably too long, isn't it? Oh.
Oh, yeah, it's just a car chase by the looks of it.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, keep an eye out for that.
We'll
And
watch it separately and then we can potentially discuss it next
in less than
episode or
a
another.
month's time.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely do the premiere, I imagine,
Yeah,
and then follow it up.
it's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
8-parter, so hopefully it is good.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds kind of fairly high budget from that as well.
yeah,
Which is
I
interesting.
think sometimes Sky do throw money at
Yeah,
things,
I
and
mean,
this seems
Sky
to be one.
is kind of, it's Rupert Murdoch, isn't it? So they've got money. Sky is Rupert Murdoch.
Yes, but that is our project news for the week.
Fantastic.
So I got a little bit distracted there because our past guest David is currently playing 20 questions with me.
Yes.
The person I've got in mind is Thanos, and he just asked, not included when Thanos killed half of them, have they died in the MCU? Like, you literally name dropped them.
But it didn't count because it wasn't a proper guess.
Yes. But yeah, we are covering Project Blue Earth SOS.
Yes.
The Invaders and their evil powers firing up the G reaction engine.
I was looking at this title and I think I saw the next title and I thought, these don't really translate very well, do they?
No.
Because that's nonsense, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think particularly Western audiences aren't used to such long episode titles, particularly for kids TV.
Yeah, I mean, like you could make like a shortened English version of that, but why would you know?
So we are on episode 3 of this 6-part series,
despite what the intro said.
Yeah.
My intro.
So before we get into it, Sam, can you tell me what's happened so far?
Okay, you're putting me on the spot here, but I will give it a solid go. So it started with an alien invasion that had happened subtly over a number of years. Fighter pilot James went missing, test pilot, and there were some kids, mostly pretty annoying, but 2 boys called, I almost said it the wrong way around again, Penny and Billy.
Yep.
Not Pilly and Benny, like I said last time. There's a girl called Lotta, Breast or Breast, depending on which version you're watching. Yep. They're all vaguely solving this mystery of the invasion. They're all very involved in politics somehow because Billy's dad is like a millionaire or something.
Yeah.
And he's like a Tony Stark entrepreneur guy. And the aliens arrived Independence Day style. They destroyed part of the city. There was another hidden city that just happened to come out and save everyone.
They destroyed Metropolitan and they had Metropolitan X hidden under the sea.
It was like Tennessee or Louisiana.
Yeah.
Like and then there was like a hidden island episode where some people got kidnapped and they found out they were taking people in power and doing something malicious with them,
and that does come back today.
Come up in this episode. There's also a dog called Washington who is Penny's dog.
Penny's dog, yeah.
And there's a guy called Captain Clayton who's like the grumpy old man who's probably the best character, although he doesn't get much show in this episode, really.
No, unfortunately not.
And we left it where the heroes had rescued the kidnapped people that weren't dead, which was most of them. So all the main characters escaped in a flying ship called a helmet worm. It's like an alien UFO thing. And they flew away to safety.
Yeah, I think that is what's happened. There's kind of like this...
It's about 100 and something minutes of content there.
I think it was about 45 minutes.
About 90 minutes of content.
But it's broadly about this. Episode 1 comes in, like as you said, this Independence Day, destroying the city. And then it's about this ongoing battle with the aliens.
Yeah, but it's very kind of subtle. Like they haven't really done apart from this big all-out attacking the city. They're now being sneaky again, which is
trying various tactics.
It's kind of I'd kind of rather it was an ongoing war.
Yeah,
whereas it's kind of like guerrilla fighting, considering the bad guys, and they say it in this, are much more technically advanced than everyone else.
Although by the end of this episode, it does leave it in a different kind of position.
Yes, and I think that will be interesting going forward. But we also said that at the end of the last episode. So.
Yeah. So this episode opens.
Oh, if you want to hear anything else, obviously we've done 2 episodes on it.
Yeah.
The first one will have loads of information on the background. Lewis did a bit of research.
Yeah, directed by Tensai Kimura, written by Ryota Yamaguchi, starring Tensai Okamura, Akina Watanabe, Mitsuki Saiga, Ryo Hirohashi.
Very nice. Although you've been watching the dubbed version, I've been watching the sub. Just so we've got a bit of a difference there.
Yeah, there's some small subtle stuff.
I'm wishing I'd stuck with the dubbed because I missed a lot this episode because it's a
lot easier to make notes listening. If I'm watching something for enjoyment, I'll watch it subbed. If I'm watching it for the pod, I'll watch it dubbed.
Yeah, but I feel like last episode I started watching dubbed and I was like, this feels wrong. And also they said breast instead of breast.
Lotta breast.
And I like the way that Captain Clayton says James, because he says James, which I quite enjoy. And he says that a lot at the start of this. So
this episode opens with Dr. Breast, Lotta's father, who's like head of the scientist, and others are looking at the helmet worm that they've
Yes,
taken, that James could just fly over.
yeah. There's a bit of discussion about that quite early on.
Yeah, so like Captain Clayton's there and he's talking about how like he's very impressed with the ship.
Yeah,
And James arrives and he's like, how did you learn to fly this alien ship so quickly? You just
yeah.
jumped on the controls, which I think we brought up last time that he could just
Yeah,
fly
and he's
it.
like, it just happened. And then we're getting this close up of it. Is that his eye or is that someone else's eye?
I thought at first it was his eye because I've written James's eye goes weird.
Yeah, and
But based on what happens in the later rest of the episode, I think it's
I
somebody
think
else's
it's the
eye.
other person that comes in because I thought, right, because he had missing time because he was
Yeah.
shot down in the past and all this business. I thought, he's probably an alien, but
And Captain Clayton kind of accuses him of being a liar and
some
not
sort
telling
of,
him.
yeah.
But yeah, James sees this guy's eye like glisten in like a weird green way.
It almost looks a bit like a kind of bionic eye kind of thing. Yeah.
And he runs over and like tackles him.
And he's carrying like a suitcase and he's ignoring James, I think, is shouting at him.
Yeah. And this guy's like very still and robotic.
Yes.
And then the suitcase like blows up and it's a bomb and it destroys the helmet worm.
That's right. Yeah.
And I thought James was dead.
Yeah, because he looks like he is. And this is when Clayton's like, James.
He's very, very distraught at this.
Yeah, because I think that he is in love with James still. I stand by that theory there. Then the aliens blew up the ship and we see
we get the intro.
Oh, we get the intro, which is very long. I noticed it was much longer. It felt much longer this time.
Christina was sitting down next to me when I watched this one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, look at the name of this character. And they were like, Christina was like, a lot of breasts. That's such like a sexist name for that woman. I was like, it's not the woman, it's the child.
It's the kid. Because the way it comes up, it looks like
lot of breast and Emily standing next to each other.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, this like sexy spy woman is called that. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Before, but,
It's worth going over because there is a child in this called Lotta Breast.
Yes.
And it's weird.
It's funny. So we're in the hospital and James is in hospital bed, I think.
He's in like a Bacta tank.
Oh yeah, and Clayton is in the hospital bed because he got a bit of the blast, but not like fully kind of blown up.
And they're saying how the bomb was trying to destroy the flying saucer.
Yeah. And then we see Penny identifying the body, don't we?
No, there's before that we've got Billy's there, and he's talking about how the guy was trying to stop the scientists discover the thing, and they talk about the possibility of there being a traitor in their midst.
That's right,
because it was a
human-looking person anyway.
Yeah.
That was,
and then we go to this body being zipped up, and I was like, "What? James is dead."
Yeah, because it looks like James.
It looks like James.
James has like grey hair, and this person is a man who looks like James who has blonde hair.
And they've got similar like face shape.
Yeah.
And Penny's really upset.
Penny's
he
really
identifies
upset.
the body.
That's it. Yeah, he's like, it's him.
And I was like, I didn't realize Penny and James were so close. And it took me a while into this episode to realize this wasn't James.
They identify him fairly quickly.
Oh, I must have missed that. And I was like,
now actually they say, oh, Scott Carter, and they say he was a NASA flight person, and I was like, who's that? And
I must have missed the Scott Carter.
We don't realize immediately. We're not supposed to know immediately who it is, but we get that little.
But I was like, Billy and Lotta were a bit too cheerful considering their friend James has just died.
Yeah.
And they come in and Penny kind of storms off because he's quite upset.
Yeah, I think they say like, oh, they're exactly like you say, they're quite kind of nonchalant about it. And he's like, no, I'm actually upset kind of thing.
So, the helmet worm is destroyed. And they say Scott Carter was an NSA pilot, did it. He was the guy who with the briefcase.
Yes.
I still thought it was James that was dead.
Right,
I realised they've identified him, but because I saw him and I was like, that's James. And I was thinking, like, it's so weird to kill off James this early in the series, but
no,
alas.
That's what that is. And then we get a cut to a passenger plane, and this felt very reminiscent of another project we'd watched. Did you get this as well?
Wait. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So there's a passenger plane which we find out has 500 people on it, which was not quite as much as Shadow Chaser 2. which I think was like 370 or something like that.
Yeah.
And we see like there's a guy who is on the plane. He's very robotic.
He
He's
looks
got a
dodgy.
suitcase on his lap, and the flight attendant's like, "Put your
Keep putting
seatbelt
your
on,
seatbelt
sir."
on, yeah.
And he just stares ahead, and then the plane just blows up.
Yeah, like we've been watching so many planes blow up recently.
Yeah, I mean, after we watched the last one, I went on a plane and I was thinking about it
Oh
while
my
we were on the
God.
plane.
I haven't been on a plane for a few years, but I will be in August.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll leave some space between watching planes blow up before we go.
We have to watch like a very plane themed episode before then.
Yeah, and
yeah, we get kind of flash like those newspapers flying up.
yeah, and there's been several terrorist attacks.
Like 5 overall, they say. Or 5
4
or 6.
attacks in a month, and 5 including the attack on the labyrinth.
That's right. Yeah.
One of them is classic because it's an alien attack. The Eiffel Tower's been knocked over, and I was like, of course, are they going to attack the Golden Gate Bridge next? Maybe.
Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Big Ben.
But yeah, there's been 5 attacks, like terrorist attacks of the similar things of some innocuous person walking in with a briefcase and blowing up, which is quite dark. And this came out in 2006, which
this episode is a bit darker, I would say.
Yeah, this is like the era of like the war on terror. This was a couple of years after the 7/7 bombings.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
These kind of terrorist attacks were very much in the Western world's mind.
Yeah, and also it's when we see the bomb suitcase a little bit later, it's very similar to one that I think is it James had in the previous episode? Do you remember he just had like a thing full of dynamite?
Yeah,
so I don't know if that's supposed to be tying together somehow. Because James is maybe a secret alien or something like that. But
yeah, Billy works out that there in every terrorist attack there was a person there who kind of shouldn't have been there.
Right.
Like Scott Carter.
Yeah.
And he says that they must have all been kidnapped and returned by aliens. And this can only mean one thing.
Yes.
In true ancient alien style, this can only mean one thing. Aliens.
I don't know if they got the exact same translation as you, but did you get something about turning corpses into automatons?
Oh, maybe.
And he says something about the zombie invasion.
Yeah.
Those are the bits I wrote down here. But yeah, effectively they come to this big conclusion that these people have been controlled by aliens. And I think they're all people who, I think a couple of them were on like the submarine that went missing the first episode.
Yeah.
So it's people who are presumed dead.
Yeah, or less we've known have had encounters.
That's right, yeah. And it kind of comes to light later that, I think it's a little bit later, but yeah, we'll wait till then. But we see something about goggles.
Before that, we're at the UN and there's like a press conference.
Right, okay.
And some guy comes in with a briefcase and they're kind of saying, we think aliens might be behind these bombings.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And then there's a bomb goes off at the UN.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And the speaker doesn't die, but lots of journalists do. So that's attack number 6.
Right, okay.
That was very 6 then.
6.
Apologies for my parcel tongue. But yeah, Lotta and Billy go to visit Penny, and he's still not very happy. And they talk some science mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, there's something about like Carillion energies, and he's got like goggles or something.
Yeah, he's got these alien detector goggles that they basically people give off different heat signatures to the aliens, which I don't know how we would have figured
That's
that
what I mean. How'd they know?
It's
very similar actually in Zeta Project. They have the Zeta detection goggles. It kind of seems to be the same thing, to be honest. They have the green goggles that you look through. But we get a little bit of a flashback, I think, in this part to Penny's history. I don't know if that's immediately. I don't know if we've got the same. My notes are kind of all over the place in this one, to be honest. But
Penny destroys the goggles because he doesn't believe they work.
Right. Okay. Because he's locked himself in his room.
Yeah. I've written a little summary for myself here. Lotta's unhappy, Billy's angry, and Penny's sad.
Right. That's good. They're all showing different.
But yeah, then we get the little flashback thing.
Yeah, and we saw a bit of this in the previous episode when Penny was being kidnapped by aliens, and both of his parents were astronauts who were supposed to be going to Mars, we find out.
Yeah.
And they go in this very retro future rocket.
Well, they make a big deal about how great of people they were.
They're like, they're so cool. Both of them, for some reason, go together, even though they left their kid.
Yeah.
And then the launch fails and blows up.
Yeah.
And then we find out at some point they say that their souls were removed and they were turned into weapons of death. That's the quote I've got.
Yeah,
here.
so they mentioned that his father was found in the Labyrinth Alliance, so he was one of these terrorist bombers.
Well, he was Scott Carter because he's Penny Carter. So that's why he's upset when he sees him.
Is he Penny Carter?
He's Penny Carter.
Are you thinking of Peggy Carter?
No, he is Penny Carter.
Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah,
I'm looking that up while we do this.
And then the next bit, Billy is remembering the conversation he just had with Penny, which happens a lot in this episode, weirdly.
He is called Penny Carter, yes.
Right. Like in previous episodes, it happened, but like, on 3 or 4 occasions in this episode, somebody like reminisces or remembers the conversation they just had.
Wait, what's the conversation they remember?
So Billy's remembering this argument he had with Penny.
Right, okay, yeah.
And then like some guy like jumps on him and makes him jump, and it's Billy's dad.
Right.
And he's working. He's like, well, stop working on some crazy invention, Billy. Come play catch. He's very eccentric.
And it's like the opposite of what I think it's supposed to be a bit of like a fun thing where the dad, although most of the time he's busy, is now really invested in his son. And the son's like, I need to work, Dad. And it's like,
the opposite to the Adam Project. And again, Project Shadow Chaser 2.
Yes.
Where both time the kids lament not being able to play catch with their fathers.
That's it. And this time he's like, let's go out to dinner. And he's like, I need to work, Dad. Like, go away.
Yeah. Also, it's made very clear that he is absolutely loaded. Like,
yes, he's very,
they've
very
got a huge
rich.
mansion. They've got an Alfred.
I think it's like Kimura Industries or something is this.
And also, the whole time Billy and his dad are having this conversation, there's some really jazzy music going on in the background.
Yeah, I guess that's them.
I paused it at one point, so I was like, is my like phone playing music or is there music coming from some, because it seems
like
so out of place,
over the top, almost like too loud.
Yeah, and I was like, nope, it's just this guy's got a jazz theme tune everywhere he goes.
Yeah,
but basically his father's funded this new like warship called the Invincible.
Yeah, which I think we got hints of in the last episode, and they were like, we don't have it ready yet, kind of thing. But yeah, it's like the flagship of the Labyrinth Alliance, and it's gonna launch at some point soon. But there's like worries about the aliens intercepting it or whatever.
Yeah.
Because everything's like gets attacked.
Yeah, but Billy said he's going to help out because his main focus is like fighting aliens these days.
Yes.
And they go to Dr. Breest.
Yes.
And he says no.
Yeah. Why does he say no?
He's like, you're literally asking to be attacked by the aliens. Like, you launch this and you're just going to get hit by the aliens straight away. Like,
just gonna get
don't be dumb.
Yeah.
And Billy's dad is like, that's the reason why we need to do it now. Like, strike them as soon as we can.
But they make such a big deal about this thing. They do like, we'll get to it, but they do so much like pomp and circumstance. I couldn't do any other way.
Yeah, they really
they make it to like a festival, and it's like, if it goes wrong, it's called the Invincible. It's like calling. It's like, oh, the Titanic's never gonna sink. Like,
yeah, and it's also like you're at
so
war with aliens. Keep your weapons secret.
Yeah, like they make toys of it.
Yeah,
it's so silly. And the thing is, we'll get to it, but like, yeah.
So Billy shows Dr. Breest the alien goggles.
Right, yeah.
And James is not dead. He's now here. And I was like, what?
But did you not see him in his like back to tank thing at the start?
Yeah, but I thought he then just died after that.
Just off screen.
You know, yeah.
We're like, oh, it's obviously a translation error there.
Yeah, and James and Billy like convince Dr. Breest to like do the shit.
Yeah. Do the thing. Oh yeah, now we get the bit where it's like a parade and there's like balloons.
Yeah, like there's kids out there with these toy spaceships.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's
literally
like
a parade.
giant posters with the picture of the thing saying like, this is the best ship ever, and it's called the Invincible.
And presumably in Metropolitan X, like the capital of the world.
Yeah, and it's like the
Are these
aliens.
people
Even if the
morons?
aliens didn't know about it, they sure do now.
Yeah, like fucking hell. They managed to keep an entire city undersea, secret from everyone for like 5 years. And now they're at war, they're like, let's show them what we got, literally.
Let's get the biggest shit we can and just launch it in the middle of the biggest city on Earth.
After parading it about for ages.
Billy's dad wants to like fly it or something.
Yeah,
he's like I've logged my hours, I could do it.
He's like, this is a momentous occasion, so he wants to go on the ship.
Is this supposed to be parallels with Penny's dad's?
Yes, and it plays into it more kind of later
Right,
on.
I kind of didn't get that, to be honest, but
it's pretty on the nose.
I wasn't really paying attention.
Wow. I think next time we watch Project Blue Earth SOS, I need a new co-host. Someone that actually cares about anime.
I mean, this is the least anime I've probably ever watched.
This is one of the most animes I've ever watched. And it's partly because I don't watch a lot of anime.
Yes, that's fair
And it
enough.
does have a lot of... One of the things that always makes me laugh in anime, where it's just like, something shocking will happen. It'll do a close-up of like a cartoon guy's face, and just like, oh.
Yeah, but there's not that much of this.
It does happen.
I think this is pretty like Western in terms of like.
Yeah, but it's more.
I mean, not like in a cowboy way, but like
all the animes I've ever watched are Pokemon, a bit of One Punch Man, a bit of Devilman.
But One Punch Man and Devilman are both way more like over the top than this.
And then this. So this is in the top 4 most animes I've ever seen.
After we finish this, we're gonna have to pick up another anime series to take this place.
Do we?
I mean, I think we should.
We'll see. I might need a break.
These are our most popular episodes, so
that's sad.
It is. So I'll pick the pace up. All right. I was actually really paying attention, and I love this series. So now that I've retconned myself, I'm ready to go.
Penny is at his parents' grave, and he's reminiscing, because that's all people do in this episode. About he got given Washington the dog as a gift from his parents.
Right,
when Washington was a puppy.
There's a whole like happy childhood flashback.
And it's
stuff,
all very cute.
Yeah,
and then Billy arrives, and he's kind of like, "Hey, man." And instead of like comforting him, he's just kind of talking about the Invincible ship. He's like, "Hey, man, I know you're sad, but my dad's built this super rocket."
But enough about your dead parents. Let's talk about my alive parents.
Yeah, and Penny's really surprised about the ship, and he like runs off.
Yeah.
And
he's
Billy,
obviously seeing the warning signs, isn't he?
Billy catches up with him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry I was so mean," and then lays into him for like 2 minutes solid. I was like,
because the whole time we've had them as these kind of rivals that didn't know about each other, very similar but are very competitive.
Yeah.
And in this, there is some bonding, and by the end of it, I think they get to the place that we kind of thought they would get to.
Billy says at this point, like, "Oh, you make a really good rival."
Yes, he says that. Yeah, and they are bonding, But it's and then
Penny responds like, "Nobody's ever said anything like that to me," and I was like, it's kind of a weird thing to say. Like,
nobody's ever said I'm a good rival before.
Yeah. Like,
I guess
what?
Maybe it's more like I've never had someone who kind of matches me and challenges me before.
I guess. So I was like, in my day-to-day life, I don't think I have many rivals.
Yeah. Well, that's what you think. They're not very good rivals, though, if you don't know they're there.
Yeah. There's just some guy out there with a very similar job to me, with a similar but not as good girlfriend who looks similar to me and just like, "Oh, Lewis is better than me in every way."
Just watches you out the window.
Yeah. It was like across the road from me in a slightly worse flat.
Very slightly worse. It's on a lower floor than yours.
Yeah.
Yuck.
But yeah, anyway, Lotta, they're looking around this parade.
Yeah.
And they've all got these goggles on.
Yes.
Because they know there's going to be an attack.
Yeah.
And Lotta has spotted somebody that doesn't give off the heat signature.
Yes.
And they all kind of look over this balcony, and Penny realizes it's his mum.
It's his mum.
His dad was used to blow up the helmet.
Yes.
And his mum's now here to blow up the Invincible.
Yeah.
And Emily's there, and she immediately like points a gun at Penny's mum.
Yeah.
And then we get the return of a character who's in the title sequence with just the name of a question mark.
Yeah. And I think he looks quite a bit like Rick from Rick and Morty.
I was going to
don't know if you
say
get that.
Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah. Dr. Robot Rick.
So Dr. Robotnik starts fighting Penny. Not Penny, Emily.
Emily, yeah.
And Penny's mum like gets away down like a side alley.
Yeah, and she's like super strong. She like bursts like a door open.
Yeah,
like off screen. It's like a sealed door that goes to like the hangar or something.
Yeah, and Penny, Lotta, and Billy all follow.
Yes.
As Penny kind of catches up with her, she turns on with like a knife.
Yeah, she pulls a knife on him, and then Washington jumps up and because he like freezes because it's his mum, and he's going after her, but he's not going after her to like attack her.
Yeah.
And then as she's kind of going for him with the knife, Washington the dog jumps up and like knocks her kind of half off like a gantry, which again we've seen a couple of times in things we've covered.
Yeah.
And he goes instinctively to grab his mom and kind of protect her, and we kind of see her kind of processing with the knife as she's hanging there.
He's holding her. It's like a 50-foot
Oh, he's
drop.
actually holding onto her, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he saved her from falling down.
Yeah, and she's drops the suitcase bomb.
That's right. Yeah.
And kind of Billy runs straight over there to try and defuse it.
So Billy's somehow on the low floor already, and he runs.
Yeah.
And
I think he was always on the lower floor. He was a bit further behind Penny.
Right, yeah, and he starts to defuse it. And this is when he opens it up, and we see it looks very similar to the one that James had.
Yeah.
It's a classic TNT kind of case with a timer kind of thing.
Meanwhile, Penny's mum has started like getting her knife ready to like stab Penny.
It looks like she's like processing, but I think she's just like they're a bit zombified kind of thing, so they're a bit like...
and Billy cuts the wire, and at the same time Penny drops his mum.
Well, there's like a shot rings out,
and we get kind of a long shot. We can't really see anything,
and we see I think some blood on either the mum or Penny as she kind of lets go. We don't really know what's happened, whether she's got him a bit or
and then Penny screams out, "You didn't have to shoot her!" And we see James has got like a sniper.
Yeah, he's got a sniper, and he's just he's fucking shot the mum.
Like, yeah.
And then we get a shot of her on the floor, and she's just splattered on the floor.
Like, you literally like quite a lot in like films when someone falls that kind of distance. You just see their body.
Yeah, or maybe you'll see them fall away into like smoke or something.
But we literally see like, and it's even like her limbs are bent at weird angles where she's landed, and just like, in a puddle of blood.
There's like a bullet hole, and like around their head, it's like
where her head smashed.
Yeah,
it was quite like graphic.
Yeah,
I was just like, I've literally just wrote down splat.
I wrote gory ! Because this is the first kind of bloodied thing that we've seen, I think.
Yeah, because we've had maybe people like melt.
And we get a couple of that kind of
Dr. Robotnik melted people,
like disintegration kind of thing. Yeah, but this is the first like bloody thing, and first bloody thing. But yeah, pretty cool. You know, that was a good moment.
Yeah, it's quite dramatic as well, and
we see that obviously Penny is very upset about this.
Yeah.
I think we cut to them kind of reconciling him afterwards, don't we?
No,
or is it just
then
on
it's
there?
The Invincible's taken off, and it's taken off successfully. Everyone's cheering, and Penny, Billy, and Lotta are watching, and then Billy like comforts Penny, and he's like,
"That's what I'm thinking."
He's like, sorry, that
must
have sucked."
They say something about science that I didn't write down, and then they say like, "Oh, your mum was already dead," kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it's like, I think he kind of partly gets that, but it's still pretty
hard to see. Yeah.
Saw his mum get like sniped and then squished.
But yeah, then the lights will go off very dramatically.
Yes, and we get another returning character from the first
alien ghost woman.
I wrote alien ghost girl, so we're almost on the same page there. She looks a little bit like a kind of Ringu character, but like with white hair and Lewis is hitting himself in the face.
I moved my foot in the base and it hit me in the face. I think here we would get an ad break. It looked quite clearly.
Just as the kind of lights go up, maybe that we get a little bit.
And then we're on like a satellite, kind of like the ISS thing.
Yeah, they're talking about a giant sunspot and some sort of detector.
It's like really abnormal readings, and then like Earth is being, and then there power goes off as well. And then
Ah.
there's like blackouts all around the world.
That's right, yeah. And we get, I think, the return of a character who was the fisherman guy, who you said was the Japanese Prime Minister's uncle.
Yeah, the Japanese Prime Minister
And he
uncle's back.
and he like looks at the city and he's like, "Oh no!" And, like the lights will go out. And I
Yeah.
think he's now got his friend back, even though his friend died. But maybe it was a different
he's
friend.
made a new friend.
Or maybe that is the Japanese Prime Minister's aunt.
Or his other uncle.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant there. But he likes to be called an aunt, so just their little thing.
Yeah, then the ghost says I didn't write down some prophecy.
I wrote down 2 bits.
I was hoping you'd write something down because I just couldn't be bothered.
Oh, they say before that the G engines are being shut down.
Yes,
the titular G engines.
Yeah.
Well, the G reaction engines is what they're called. The ghost girl says a load of like Ridley type shit, and she says,
I have no time for that whatsoever.
She says, well, this time they like, last time there was a bit of a gap, and they were like, what did that mean? And then it comes back again. They're like, oh, it meant that. And this time they're like, she says something about 7 colored lights will spell out peace or something, and something about their hair of angels. And we're like, okay. That's nonsense. But we get the hair of angel stuff, like,
and the 7 lights.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It comes up like straight away. So I guess they're tired of like pulling us along.
Literally, as soon as she started to say the policy, I just zoned out. I was just like,
Lewis, you need to be more enthused by this beautiful series.
Remember back in season 1 when you really enjoyed it, and I was a bit like,
season 1,
episode 1.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's not exactly Zeta, is it?
It swapped around. I mean, I still think Zeta is fine, and this is fine. I think I was tired last night, and a 40-minute episode, that's long for anime. Anime is normally like 25 minutes.
I watched it when I got home, and then I had a film to watch.
That's fair enough. Yeah. So, I mean, I'd watched that film a couple of days beforehand. So
yeah, but we're not going to be talking about that today at all.
No, not on pod, not on this recording anyway.
Yeah.
As far as you know, everybody, it will already be coming out soon.
It will come out
the day after or so.
Yeah,
anyway, so the power's out all over the world, and there is like an Aurora Borealis type situation above the city, which we find out very quickly is the 7 colored lights they were talking about. And we see kind of like a silhouette hologram of a man, don't we? Or some sort
and
of
he's
figure.
like in the sky.
Yeah, and he's like, I think is it one over the world, or is it different ones?
I think it must be different.
I think it's different ones for every kind of major area. Yeah, and he's basically saying we're from planet Bogon or something like that.
Agawa, I think.
I've got it written down here. Baguan. Bagwan.
Okay.
Bagwan.
And he's like laughing, and he's like,
he's laughing. He's like, sorry, my mate just told me a really funny joke. We're about to start recording.
Yeah. And he's like, you got 24 hours to comply and surrender.
Yeah. For some reason, I've written demand all the surrenders. So
demand all the surrenders.
I guess I'm from the internet 10 or so years ago.
I saw a TikTok the other day of somebody that only talks in YouTube memes from the mid-2000s. And sadly, I got most of them. And I was like, oh, damn it, I'm old. Billy realizes like his dad's on the Invincible. And
yes. And it's being controlled remotely somehow. Or its
the aliens
engine is
like,
being shut off.
The power's going out. And aliens are like, we can do whatever we want. And I'm kind of like, why is it taking you so long to win this war then?
Yeah, I think the alien guy says like that they're so far advanced kind of thing. And this is what I was saying at the start. Like, yeah, they say they are, and their technology seems to be, but they're just playing this weird long game.
It seems very like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I mean I say it would be like that, but then we have seen them launch a giant ship with loads of mini ships.
Yeah,
I think they're just kind of sadistic. It seems like they're just
Dr. Bruce is like, the real fight starts now, not when the capital of the world was blown up, not when they kidnapped all important people from all around the world, including your daughter. Now we start fighting. Billy immediately wants to launch a rescue rocket to save the Invincible.
Yeah, which is his plan is like the dumbest plan that we've
Yeah,
seen
and
so
Dr.
far.
Breeze is like, maybe we should go with a less dangerous plan, you know?
And Billy's like, I'm rich and I'm a kid, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And he borrows something from someone. What's this about?
Penny says like the G engine rockets won't work.
Yeah.
So you could use an older rocket.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So they go get the Frontier 2 from the Dinosaur Museum.
Oh, really? Is it actually from the Dinosaur Museum?
Yeah, I don't know if that's just its
like
name.
a joke because it's old.
Yeah.
But it can't be that old because Penny's...
Yeah,
Penny...
I don't know.
Yeah.
The museum guy's like, I don't think it's a good idea. And he pays him off and takes the rocket.
Yeah, this was a part where I missed that, and it was like a mustache guy who just got paid off.
So Billy's got this plan to save his dad, and he's like, we need astronauts who flew this older model. So I very quickly, within minutes, got a collection of the best pilots that flew this model.
Yeah.
And in a word, how would you describe these group of astronauts, Sam?
I mean, there's one word that would be very appropriate, but I'm trying to think of a slightly better word. Decrepit is probably one word to describe them.
For an anime series, like not highly artistic.
Yeah.
You can see a shit ton of wrinkles
in
these men.
These are old ass men.
Wrinkly men that look so happy.
The thing about
it reminded me of when you bring your granddad a cup of tea, the look on their face.
That's very true. I mean, the thing is, the timeline doesn't make sense because, like you said, kind of hinted at, Penny's parents were on one of these ships. And unless their ship was the last one to go...
Were they on one of these ships?
Well, they were on like an old-looking ship that looked like that one.
Was it not? It could have just been an early G.
No, because the G unit ships only started in the first episodes. They were launching them all over the world, and that's what picked up the aliens coming. And it looked like it was like a Tintin like spiky ship thing.
Yeah.
So either they didn't do many of these, and the last one was the one where they all died, supposedly. And so the previous one is all these old men. Or they just asked loads of people, and the only people who wanted to do it were these old men who were going to die anyway.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably that last one.
Yeah, because they kind of hint on that.
They do, yeah.
Towards
in a very strange way. That whole last scene plays out I think again,
plays out very unexpectedly.
It's supposed to be playing on, your expectations, but it just comes across as like, sorry, what's going on here?
But yeah, Billy says like he's counting on these like 5 old guys, and their entire families are out there having like a great day.
Yeah,
like,
it's
whoa!
Again, it's like this. It's like the second big celebration.
They built like a stand for them all to sit on.
It's this weird, like, I guess it's supposed to be like this wartime propaganda morale type thing, but it's not played off as like this like cynical, like see-through thing. Like it's very earnest,
straight, yeah.
But then it both of them kind of go wrong.
They said they're gonna fly at sunrise, but it's very, very expensive because he's already bought this ship, and then obviously launching it, expensive. Fortunately, Billy's made of money, and even with his dad dying, he can access all this money.
Yeah.
Penny's like, I don't think this is a good idea.
Yes, and this is where, as you said, they have this kind of moment of he's saying, without saying it straightforward, he's going like, I've got experience with this and you shouldn't do it.
Billy is kind of like, aliens are going to destroy everything. And Penny kind of makes the point of like, we shouldn't just be sacrificing more astronauts.
No, and he's absolutely right. Because there's not that many people on the Invincible. It's like maybe 10 or something. I don't know.
And Billy like makes a jab about Penny's parents. Is like, we've got like good astronauts this time or something like that. And it's
not
like
some like stupid women and men. These are all men. I can't
remember exactly what it was, but it was some kind of dig at Penny's parents.
Oh, these guys are better than your parents were, or something like that.
And Penny then also comments that he thought Billy was a good rival.
Right, okay, we get that again.
Yeah, then we get to the launch. It's launched in 20 seconds.
Yeah, I thought that Billy was going to see the error of his ways, but no, they are launching.
At 20 seconds, and then a bunch of helmet worms arrive.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't they?
Because that's the thing, because so far they've done this guerrilla tactics. Now they've revealed themselves in the sky. as if everyone in the world didn't already know. They might as well just turn up with their flying saucers and shoot it, which is exactly what happens.
Billy tries to cancel it, but like with 2 seconds left, you can't just stop a rocket launch.
It's too late to stop the launch.
And it launches, and
I mean, it barely gets off the ground.
Yeah, and the helmet worms blow it up.
There's ray guns, and it's full on, like
and then Lotta's like crying.
All the old men got exploded.
Yeah,
they all got exploded.
It's the second thing we've flying thing we've seen explode in this episode.
Yeah, I feel like the makers had some kind of, I was gonna say fetish for exploding aircraft, but that's probably not quite right.
Yeah,
they had an interest in it that they wanted to explore.
But yeah, like so Lotta's crying.
Stupid bitch.
A lot of crying. Billy realizes that Penny was right. And he starts crying. It's like, oh, it's all my fault. And it's like, yeah, because you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, if you like just stopped and thought about this for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Over the last like 24 hours since you started this plan. You would have realized it's a dumb plan.
It is very silly. Like
it was good. Also his plan to fucking shoot the Invincible up. Like he was real strong proponent of sending the Invincible.
Yeah.
What? It didn't work. Let's do it again with an older rocket. With old people who probably can't fly a fucking space rocket. Let's face it.
Just because they could do it like 25, 40
years ago. You have to be physically fit to be an astronaut. Like
physically fit.
But yeah, we see a shot of like people in the Invincible like struggling. It's cold and they're running out of oxygen.
Yeah. The dad's like looking at. Oh, that's a little bit later. There's a bit where he's looking at his locket or whatever.
Yeah.
But we
also quickly see Penny in a library looking for a specific book that he's read before.
Yeah, because he's got some idea about something. But we also, in this part, get this guy who comes up to Billy and starts like berating him in this kind of public forum of the.
It turns out the lead astronaut, he was the captain or whatever,
commander of the ship,
was this guy's dad.
Yeah, and this guy is like. He's having a whole go at him about.
Yeah, it was quite scary. I thought he was going to punch him,
and he's just berating this kid who's like 12,
and like Billy's like on his knees crying,
and this guy's shouting,
and Billy's like, "I'm sorry,"
and then he just switches it up, and he's like,
he grabs Billy like by the
he's
tie.
Like, "Don't give up, don't give up." He's basically like, my dad kind of died for nothing.
Like, my dad was so excited for this. Don't make it for nothing. I was just like, oh, you're going through that angle. That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like
the wrong angle to go for.
And it's also like he doesn't learn his lesson really. Yeah, because he's like, yeah, that was good to do.
Let's just keep sending rockets up until there's no more rockets or no more people. I mean, whatever comes first.
They should put babies on the next one, I think.
Yeah, because they can definitely fly a rocket.
Probably the same as some decrepit old.
It doesn't matter if they can fly a rocket; they're gonna get blown up 5 seconds after launch.
And also, they can probably control it remotely, like.
But yeah.
Oh, Penny's in the library. Is this, he gets the same chat from someone else.
No, so like before, the guy's like, "Don't give up," and Penny's like, "Oh no, I've given up." And then his dog talks to him, and he's like, "No, I won't give up." And I was like, why is Washington giving the same thing
at the same time as Billy's told by this grieving son of an old man?
Penny's being told by his dog.
Penny's looking at bookshelves and he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna give up." And then just Washington just like goes, and he goes, "You're right, I shouldn't give up."
Yeah,
it's so silly.
And then he reminisces about something that just happened.
Yes, about the angel hair thing. Is it?
Yeah.
And then this like librarian guy comes up who's called Professor something.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, something about there's something about the angel hair was found on the submarine or something."
Yeah, Penny says he's looking he's like, "I know I read something somewhere. Do you know anything about the hair of angels?" And the Professor's like, "Oh, do you mean angel's hair?"
Yeah.
Because very different titles. He picks out a book and mentions there was someone on the submarine from like episode 1.
Yeah, there was some guy called Professor Steamson who wrote some essays about something along these lines.
Like most of his stuff was like bullshit.
Yeah,
But
it's
one of
like
his
fringe
theories was
pseudoscience
this
stuff. Yeah, and it's
angel's
something
hair
to
thing.
do with like solar wind and electromagnetic stuff. I didn't
Can
really understand.
control Earth's magnetism.
Right, and I'm guessing this is the whole sunspot thing that we saw earlier. But
Yeah.
this is the start of like the next mystery.
I've just written it's science stuff.
Yeah, and then we get Pickle Rick himself, Professor Robot Rick,
Professor Robot Rick, yeah.
he's like at the door and he's like shouting through the door, maybe? Or
Yeah.
maybe he doesn't say anything actually.
He comes in and
He shoots his ray gun through the door and it kills the librarian guy.
yeah,
Just like disintegrates him completely.
and he like knocks down the door and aims at Penny. And then Billy jumps out and throws a Molotov cocktail
Well,
at Robot Rick.
yeah. It's like a fuel thing and then like a fire thing, but
And it's got a little thing. It's like a bottle with a thing hanging out that he lights.
And this guy is like, I think he's like a zombie guy as well.
He's like
right?
on fire, and he's
on
also
fire.
been lit.
And he's like, no, he's just like, I keep burping. He's like,
Washington, they found this little like test tube that's got this angel's hair.
Yeah,
in.
and he's trying to grab it, the Robot Rick.
Washington grabs it and runs. Billy, Penny, and Washington like
all jump out the window.
Jump out the window onto a tree. Robot Rick shoots the branch of the tree and they fall.
Yeah. And then as they're running away in the forest, they have like a moment where they hide.
And Penny's like, "Oh, you came and saved me." And he was like,
he says like, "How did you know where I am?" And he's like, "I've got really good surveillance." It's like, this guy is
fucking creepy.
so rich.
He's kind of like the kid in Zeta, the crazy kid who has the invention.
I was thinking about Adam Project then, but yeah, he's like the crazy kid, but like a bit less crazy and
a bit richer.
Much richer.
But yeah, Robot Rick has caught up with them.
He's just like, so he's got like a ray gun that's like, woo, 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 woo,
yeah,
kind of thing, like rays. What do you call them? Like rings, like
woo. Yeah. He's caught up with them now on like a clip face. Everyone in the Invincibles also dying, and then the narrator goes, "What happens next?"
Oh yeah, we get shots of the dad in space looking at his locket with Billy in it.
Yeah,
we get like Billy, we get the space like do, and they do a whole thing where they say, the only bit I wrote down is, "Who is the silver-haired mystery man?"
Yeah, and then it's credits. Did you hang around for the post credits?
I did, and I don't remember what happened because it was over in about 5 seconds.
So it's often. So that's the end of the episode. It's left on quite a cliffhanger, literally, for Penny and Billy.
Yes, and because the cliff wasn't there before, they say, like it wasn't here.
But it's the end of the episode, so we'll have to watch the next one soon, I guess. But yeah, the post credits bit. Throughout this series, it's been like the main characters really just joking and laughing about what's going on.
Yeah.
And in this, Penny and Billy are joking about how much Billy spent in this episode. They're like, yeah, that's like...
I don't think that's the same one in Japanese.
Oh, he's like, the rockets are really expensive. And he was like, oh, you don't want to know how much the goggles cost. They cost a fortune.
It definitely wasn't that.
And they're just joking whilst they're both like nearly dead and Billy's dad's dying and Penny's been thinking about his dead parents and then saw his mum get killed again and identified his dad's body again like years old. It's a really emotional episode. And they're just like, ha ha ha, goggles cost a lot. Oh, did you not have that in Japanese?
It was about the next episodes.
Oh.
And it was showing clips of the next episodes.
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, and it was that's what I normally have with it. So maybe that's why we're having this. Yeah, it was showing clips of the next episode, and they were like, "What's going to happen next?" Blah 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 blah, and like loads of manic.
I
shit
think
like
they
that.
did say like, "Oh, what do you think is going to happen next?"
Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, generally kind of different stuff, and then we get very dramatic kind of ending. The ending music's before that. But,
yeah, that's episode 3.
Episode 3.
So, Sam, that was episode 3 of Project Blue Earth SOS.
I
kind of got the feeling you didn't enjoy it too much.
I thought it was okay. I mean, the content itself, like the episode, I didn't think was amazing, but the story that was going on and the a couple of moments, especially going back over, I thought were pretty decent. I liked it was taking a bit of a darker tone, and it finally feels like it's getting to the point we thought it was at the end of the first episode.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty good. It really highlighted that episode 2 was very filler.
Yes, I would agree. So yeah,
obviously it came back that we kind of didn't mention, but these a lot of the people that were
oh yeah,
kidnapped for
we
the
didn't mention
island
that at all.
in
Yeah.
episode 2 are the people that are then coming out
Yes. So
and attacking.
they were held in these kind of stasis test
tubes.
tube things, and we found that they were dead when they were fully
Yeah.
rescued. And the fact they were dead is the point, I suppose, because then they were used as these puppets to kind of do things.
Yeah, and because this episode kind of ended on a cliffhanger, it didn't get a conclusion, but it does make you. I feel like this, because it's only a 6-episode series.
Yeah,
we may just go into the end game from here.
that would be nice. Yeah, yeah. Because the weird thing, I'm still not super happy about the way the aliens are doing things.
Yeah, no, it kind of does make any sense.
Because this whole doppelganger invasion of the body snatchers plan doesn't really make sense if they've already revealed themselves and had this big
it
spaceship
also
thing in the first
doesn't
episode.
make sense to kidnap people on this mysterious island. Does make sense to do double. When we've even seen at the end of the episode that they can just black out the entire world.
Yeah, and also I guess it's because they didn't want the resistance and they were trying to get through.
They could just black out the world and leave it for a couple of weeks, then just walk in and take over.
Yeah,
like,
but maybe they want. I mean, I guess we're gonna get that there's more to, and I think the way it's going, I think that the alien ghost girl is probably a good guy and is probably warning them because there's no reason for them to be doing what they're doing otherwise. And maybe even the aliens are trying to do something good in that kind of like bad guy way where it's like, oh, we're trying to save you from, climate change.
Yeah.
What was it? There's something where someone has to make a decision about climate change.
I don't know.
I watched something recently.
I've seen some people talk about how Thanos prevented the COVID pandemic.
Maybe, yeah. Is that why they didn't have it in there? I mean, they had something much worse. So.
Half.
They did have like a disease thing in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, didn't they? But they kind of edited it out.
Similar with No Time to Die, they did that.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Oh, really? Sorry.
I know. There's something with it in there. Yeah.
Well, they didn't have COVID in it. Big spoiler.
There's something that I feel like we've both watched where someone is given. Oh no, you haven't seen it, so I won't say what it is. Cool. Cool.
The fact that you're saying that implies that I'm going to see.
It's something I've recommended before. But yeah, it's very good. It's very good.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought this was. I think the first episode was like a blockbustery, get you into it. I'm still not a huge fan of all the sciencey mumbo jumbo stuff they do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But I think this is better than episode 2.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I don't know what I rated that, but this would be. I've got something in mind. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of. I don't want to be. It depends if it's based on like my reaction watching it or if it's now. Because now
I've got a higher rating than when I finished watching it.
Yeah. And I think part of it was like I wasn't picking up on certain bits because I was tired and because I was watching it subtitled. And I feel like you filled in the kind of gaps there. And I feel like I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of understood what they were going for. Do you want to go?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to give this particular episode a 7.
Right. Okay. Well, that works because I was going to go for a 6. So why are you giving?
So I was thinking a 6 yesterday, or I would have thought that talking about it. I like the kind of the emotional dark side of it was quite, and certain moments were quite good. Like Billy realizing his mistake is quite well done. Penny's kind of trauma and having to literally let his mum go.
Fair.
Is quite traumatic. The return of Robot Rick.
Yeah, that was a cool part. Yeah.
There was kind of and finally like the aliens revealing themselves and almost taking over the world. I feel like lots of significant things happened.
I'd agree. Yeah, and I think obviously this is it's a 6-episode thing, like you say, but this episode and episode 2 could have really been one thing. And because Lotta doesn't do anything in this episode, James doesn't really do anything.
Emily doesn't do anything.
So split them up, and I know it'd be a lot, but maybe even have this this plot over the 2 episodes kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because
because there is a lot that goes
there's a
on.
lot going on here, and I completely agree that the darker parts, especially seeing the whole situation with the mum, I thought was handled pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't kind of shy away from stuff that I thought they would. So yeah, generally speaking, yeah, I think a 5 would be too harsh because it was better than a lot of stuff we've watched. I just didn't
Yeah.
massively enjoy it watching it at the time. So yeah,
Cool. So I
that's
think
episode
that is
3.
episode 3, which means it is now time
Woo!
for
Personal
personal project.
projects.
Were you gonna say this time it's personal?
Projects.
Ah, I like that. I like that. This time it's personal clip.
You like that?
It's one of my favorites.
Despite the fact that most of them aren't, this time it's personal.
This time it was personal.
Great. Now I'm gonna have to
projects.
use that one.
Oh, it was a good one.
The episode that Kane was on, I was going through and I've made like a little list of what I've used and what I haven't used. And I realized there was some Simpsons ones I hadn't used, and there was also Sopranos one that I hadn't used. And I was like, well, Kane likes both of those things.
Yeah, fair
so
enough.
I hope he appreciated that. I'm sure he won't listen to this episode because he is a very important man and he's got lots of important things to do. As you well heard on that episode. Some examples of which I won't repeat here because he's not here. So yeah, continuing.
Sam, what have you been watching, doing, seeing, writing, reading, looking, standing,
a bit
jumping?
of looking, to be honest. Yeah.
Ooh.
So there's 2 things. One is an in passing, and one is a main thing. So I'll kind of go
kind of got the same
through one to the other. I don't know if it was mentioned before on here, but Amy's been watching a lot of Parks and Rec, so we've been going back through that. And you'd caught a little bit, Lewis, a couple of times over here. I know it's not something you've watched before, apart from maybe a couple of bits here and there, as we say.
Never quite got into it.
Yeah, I'd say if you like the kind of Michael Schur and whoever the other guy shows, like Good Place and The Office and stuff, it is something that you'll probably like if you got into it. Kind of thing. But generally speaking, yeah, enjoying that. We're kind of getting towards the end, so I'm interested to see if Amy will go on to The Good Place, because we both recommended that before.
The Good Place is very good.
She doesn't really like it, and Kristen Bell makes quite a few cameos in these later seasons.
Oh,
so
really?
I guess that's kind of forecasting the relationship there. But one of the people who is in both, and I'm just Googling his name because I can't remember his name, Adam Scott is in both Parks and Rec and a series called Severance, which has been an Apple Plus series, which has just kind of finished recently. And I don't have Apple TV Plus, so I went out.
Your HBO Max account?
No, actually, this time I went out on the street and I just shouted really loudly, and a man brought a load of VHSs down the road. So I've got those VHSs if you need them, Lewis.
I can see them.
Yeah,
see them.
They're quite dirty, and I don't know how he managed to record from Apple TV Plus to them, but he's just he's old Jim who lives up the road.
Is that mold on them?
It's this black mold that kind of hurts your lungs to breathe. So I'm slightly concerned about the origin there. But the series itself is from the first episode seems really intriguing. It's got kind of weird, kind of 60s kind of office vibe. Imagine like a kind of old FBI kind of office, but like a kind of modern version of that.
Cubicle-y?
Yeah, and basically the premise is that it's kind of in a weird present day, kind of, Legion. You saw bits of Legion, that kind of weird modern retro, kind of retro futuristic in a way. But anyway, it's he plays like an office manager of sorts. And there's this procedure for this company which is called Severance, which is the name of the show.
Makes sense.
Where when you enter the office space, which is like an underground place, you don't remember anything outside of the office. So your memories in the office are severed from your memories outside the office.
Severance.
As a kind of like a non-disclosure agreement thing. But it also means that they kind of develop different relationships and are different people in the office so they are outside the office. So it's kind
when
of
they're in the office, they remember out the office.
No, so they don't remember.
So it's two separate lives.
they're completely different lives, and there'll be parts where somebody is initiated into it and they're showing the procedure and stuff, and they try and leave, and to them they're just coming immediately back in as if they can't leave, but their outside self has made the decision to come in, which then yeah, and it seems very interesting, and I'm sure there's lots of kind of conspiracies and stuff going on, and I haven't really got into it too much.
Sounds
but
interesting.
it's a much more dramatic role for that gentleman there who I've forgotten his
Adam
name
Scott.
again. Adam Scott, that's right. Much more dramatic role, but with this kind of weird, slightly dark, comical kind of vibe there. And the first episode was directed by Ben Stiller, which is interesting.
Nice.
And he's done a bit of direction.
I
in the past.
might have to check that out.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff I want to start watching. Christina's quite insistent we have to finish what we're watching now.
Yeah.
First.
See, we did a bit of a pilot season, me and Amy, and we watched through a couple of pilots to see what we'd pick up, and that was the one. The problem with that is that if you like a couple, it's kind of like now I've got a we watched the first episode of Vikings, which was fine, but there's like 6 seasons and I kind of
because
not that fussed.
There was the Easter Doctor Who episode. There's been 2 Star Trek series start. I want to watch through Legion again. I mentioned these things to Christina, and she's like, "We need to finish one thing at a time." So I might, when we finish it, do that actually, and let's watch the first episode of each one.
Yeah.
Or
and
for Picard, it's season 2. Doctor Who's just one, and then
I think it works good for new things that you haven't checked out. I think for a second season, well, I suppose you could still do it, but
that, what we are currently watching is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I mentioned.
Right,
I can't remember if I mentioned last time, but the previous time.
Definitely.
We're now into season 3, so it's
okay.
full Inhumans. They've actually just gone to the planet where Simmons gets stuck on the planet through the monolith.
Yeah. So you've had all the part where she's been stuck there, then.
Yeah, it literally ended. The last episode ended with Ward and Fitz going there, and Coulson crushing Ward's chairs.
Right, okay, yeah, because that all happens in a very.
The episode ends with Ward back, and Gideon Malik spots him. It's still great. Still highly recommend Shield.
Yeah,
we are flying through it because it's good fun,
like a Quinjet in the night.
But yeah, the main thing actually that I was going to talk about is it would have been 9 days before this episode comes out, but for us it's fairly recently, is Eurovision.
Oh right, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I know
where's this going?
You were otherwise occupied, but I went to a Eurovision party.
Excuse me, I watched the last 5 minutes of the 10 or so hour broadcast.
And it was great fun. Eurovision's always good fun. There were some really good acts this year. I thought Romania, Spain, Ukraine.
I saw Spain's
Norway
one. That was a bit of a viral one, wasn't it?
There was lots of
incredible
bums.
dance.
I personally thought Romania were great. Moldova were great. Moldova got like no points from the judges, a shit ton of points from the audience.
Okay, yeah.
One of those. And the UK did really well.
Incredibly well, yeah.
To the point we decided let's make some drinking balls when the points come out.
Right, okay.
And it was drink if a country gives 12 points to a bordering country.
Right.
Which happens a lot, but you see the jurors vote, not the fan vote these days.
Right, okay.
So it wasn't too much. We decided to drink every time Switzerland got points because their song was shit. And they got quite a few points. And then the other one was down your drink if the UK get 12 points.
Oh, wow.
Because we haven't got 12 points in like 10 years. We got 12 points 10 times.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
We had to quickly change that rule to like
to
like 4 sips or something, whatever you can manage. Because after the jurors, the UK were top.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
Clearly.
Yeah. Because I tuned in just after Ukraine had been given the.
Yeah, then the fan votes come in and Ukraine wiped the floor of it.
Yeah, it was like 650 or something.
Fair
like
play to them. And like, not only is like give all the love to Ukraine we can.
Yeah.
It was a good song. I liked the song.
Yeah, it was pretty decent from what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have
been a bit more like bitter about if it was a shit song that got a ton of votes.
Yes,
but it's a good song. Like if they had
and it was a bit different to.
Yeah, it was a mix of like rapping and traditional stuff, and like if they had won any other year, it would have been like I'm not surprised. This year with everything going on, credit to them.
I mean, effectively, a lot of people are kind of saying, wrongly or not, but not wrongly, that we probably would have won if it hadn't been for the current situation, and that's fine. Like that's not a that's nothing
Yeah,
to be bitter
the
about
fact
at
that
all.
like, we were saying like if we
Yeah.
get more than 10 points across the whole thing, it's incredible because the UK just
Yeah.
doesn't do well these days because
No.
various reasons.
And
But
there was,
we even got so when we went to the fan voting, we got 183 fan votes, which
Right.
means it wasn't just the jurors that liked the song.
Yeah, yeah.
People across Europe were
But
actually
that's
voting for
not
the
actual
UK.
numbers of votes, is it? It's like a percentage.
No, so
like
each country gives 12, 10, 8, 7, 6,
But
5,
the
4, 3,
fan
2,
votes
1.
is like, so it's a ratio still.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
each country, they'll calculate each country's votes
Yeah,
and put it
yeah.
into 12, 10. But
Okay,
it
yeah.
means I think we were like the 5th most popular country amongst the fan votes.
Yeah, which is
Which
crazy.
is
yeah.
very rare for the UK.
And the guy, what's he called? Alex.
Sam Ryder.
Sam Ryder or
Sam Ryder.
Ryder, which
Yeah.
I think is the name of the second Nova in Marvel.
Really?
So I don't know. I assume that's his real name, but also his song was
Yeah.
about flying through the stars.
Well,
so-
he was a TikTok guy.
Yeah, I saw when I was first day I was working from home last week. I was watching the breakfast news while I was doing lots and lots of work. If you're listening, anyone who works with me, and they were interviewing him, and it was I think the start of the first lockdown. So about 2 years ago now, he was recording himself like singing Britney Spears songs, getting the high notes in his mum's
Yeah.
kitchen, and since then has kind of just had this quick trajectory.
He seems like a really likable guy.
And he also used to be in like a metal band. Did you know
Really?
that? Yeah.
No.
So his kind of singing and his, he's got a bit of history there, but not in the same scale as this.
He
at all.
does look like he doesn't sing like
Yeah.
so he could be in a metal, but he's kind of got that.
He's
that
got long hair,
and
kind of
beard, yeah.
beard kind of look. Yeah. But yeah, he
Um,
seemed very kind of genuine and like happy to be there from what I
Yeah,
saw, which is really nice.
I saw clips of him after he was singing with the Netherlands women after the show.
Oh, really?
So the Switzerland got 0 points from the public voting, the only country to get 0 points. And when it was said that, he was straight over there chatting to the Switzerland
wow.
guy, like giving him a hug.
I mean, that looks good on TV as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think like the Swiss guy called him out after being like, "Cheers, man, you helped me at my lowest point."
I heard somebody at my work today saying that something about the BBC's coverage was different this year and much more in like a professional light. I don't know if that's something you particularly noticed.
I was at like a Eurovision party, so there's lots of talking.
Yeah, I think they were saying that like the way it's been looked at is taking it more seriously, more like a kind of sporting competition than in the past.
Yeah,
and they've still got Graham Norton kind of taking the piss over the top.
Yeah,
but generally, I think the coverage and the whole outlook is.
Once we started doing well, it really reminded me of like the Euros of being like, the only time I fucking love this country is when we're competing against other countries. Also, Mika performed.
Yeah, no, I actually that popped up, that video. But it was like a medley.
It was a medley. He did Love Today, Grace Kelly, a new track called Yo Yo, and Happy Ending.
Yo Yo, yeah. Did I message you when I was watching the news in that morning, and I was like, Mika's the judge on the Eurovision.
Oh, maybe I can't remember.
But yeah, and yeah, they played a bit of that song. So
so that was kind of great. I love Eurovision.
Yeah,
and
more to say about that than I did about my series.
It's a once in a year occasion.
Yeah.
We can talk about Severance again next week potentially. Anything else from you?
No, that's it for me.
Excellent. So if you want to give us 12 points, like lots of countries did to the UK, or the equivalent, which is like 5 stars, get on your podcast listening app, whether it be Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. There's various different ones. I think about 53% of our listeners are Spotify.
That was correct last time we checked. Yes.
So yeah, any of those you can give us 5 stars. It's very quick. It's very easy, and it goes a long way. It's also a pleasure to hear your more specific thoughts. So you can contact us directly, can't you, Sam?
You can indeed, yeah. If you'd like to tell us why our opinions on Project Blue Earth SOS are wrong, then you can let us know via email at theprojectpod@gmail.com. on the other hand, if you think that we are both absolutely right with what we said, you can contact us via any of the social medias that are in our link tree in the episode description. And I expect you to keep to those two
So to
groupings
clarify,
there.
if you disagree with us, email. If you
Email.
agree, any other social media.
Any other social media. Cool. So link tree in the episode description or search the project.
Good job I've got our email address written down.
Otherwise, if you've got any anime suggestions for either off-pod viewing, so maybe something for Lewis to kind of educate himself in the world of anime, or something that is very serious like this and is trying to educate me in the ways of anime in that sense, please let us know. Also, if you have any animes with project in the title, even if they're ones that we've already got on our top secret list, you can let us know.
If you want to hear it, we can put it to the front of the list, basically.
We absolutely can. There is a couple that sound incredible in their own way, which Lewis does know, but I haven't reminded him of recently.
To be entirely honest, we don't plan what episode we're going to do too far ahead.
No.
We're probably not going to start any other series things. We've currently got Zeta,
when we finish this,
Blue Earth, and White Rabbit.
When we finish the next 3 episodes of this, I was thinking if we have an anime replacement, we can kind of put that up to the public vote, as it were.
Yeah, we'll see if a good one jumps out.
I mean, there's one that I kind of want to go for, so we'll see if anyone...
Zeta's a cartoon of that era that can cover it if we want to go something else.
Wow, okay. My watch just tried to search all of what I just said here. Lewis, look at this.
Oh, he's written an essay in his phone.
It is very serious like this, and he's trying to educate me in the ways of anime in that sense. Please let us know also if you have... It's pretty spot on for what I said.
We could also revisit Blue Book if people really wanted.
We can, yeah. If the hashtag bring back Blue Book or whatever you're called, if you want us to, cover specific episodes, we could do so.
Yeah, we can jump in and out of that.
We maybe just put a poll out on Twitter and see if we get some response, because that worked for us in the early days, didn't it? So
but that is the pod for this week. We have got a new silver screen project coming out in a couple of days.
Yes, that's right.
A couple of days after this episode's coming out. So keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye on the skies, you might say.
I've got the need.
The need for the silver screen project.
Yes. But if you didn't get it from that, I wouldn't have last week either. So it's been fantastic having you along. And
you said if you didn't get it from that, and then you just didn't finish your sentence.
Then cool. You'll have to wait and find out in a couple of days.
Okay.
I wouldn't have figured it out from that, as I said. But yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, cool. See you later. I'll hear you next week and all the other mumbo jumbo I say at the end of the pod.
See you soon. Thanks for taking your time to listen to us. Bye.
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 It's Top Gun.